Hi, and welcome back to Focal Point AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. The program is Focal Point. The network is AFR Talk. If you want to see that photograph of President Obama in the Situation Room during when the bin Laden raid was going down, it's on our Focal Point Facebook page, and you can check out what I was saying about that picture for yourself and draw your own conclusions. Anyway, one of the sort of, well, it turns out it's a myth that's out there in the world, is that if you want news that is fair and balanced, you go to Fox. Everybody else is biased. Everybody else is in the tank. Fox News is the place you can go and you can get a fair and balanced treatment of the news. But it turns out, and our next guest is going to help us with this, it turns out that that may be true on everything but the homosexual agenda. And here to help us sort through all that is Cliff Kincaid. He's been a guest on this program before. He is the president of America's Survival Incorporated. Cliff, welcome back to Focal Point with Brian Fisher.
Good to be back with you, Brian.
Well, Cliff, you've got a piece headlined Fox News Goes Gay. And you've got a press conference at the National Press Club next week on August 20 to sort of introduce this study, a well-researched, well-written piece by good friend Peter LaBarbera about the lurch to the left on the homosexual issue that Fox News has taken. And in particular, you've got Megyn Kelly on the cover of this 73-page report, which I worked through this morning, by the way. But she's the poster, she's the cover girl for this report entitled Unfair, Unbalanced, and Afraid, Fox News Growing Pro-Homosexual Bias and the National Lesbian and Gay Journalists Association. But I particularly want to focus, first of all, on Megyn Kelly and then some of the other leading anchors and news personalities on Fox News and talk about the drift to the left on this particular issue. So your piece is entitled Fox News Goes Gay, or the news story at ChristianNewsWire.com. Fox News Goes Gay. Talk to us in general about that, and specifically, let's talk about Megyn Kelly. She's bumped Sean Hannity right out of the primetime 9 p.m. spot on Fox News. Everybody likes Megyn Kelly. She's America's sweetheart. She's the girl next door. But it turns out she may be a pretty pronounced advocate for the homosexual agenda. Talk to us.
Yes, actually, this report is even longer than you said, Brian. It's 92 pages. 40,
oh yeah, because because it is so well documented.
Yeah, 40,000 words. I've known Pete LaBarbera for decades, and I knew he was going to come through with a great report in advance of our conference. And it's all up there at our website for free for people to take a look at and make their own decisions and conclusions. This is really not a new story, although the Megyn Kelly angle is getting some attention. We have been writing, Pete LaBarbera and myself, about Fox News putting tens of thousands of dollars over the years into the coffers of the National Lesbian and Gay Journalists Association. Now, by any basic stretch of journalistic ethics, this is wrong. Journalists are supposed to be objective and not take sides, so why is Fox, of all places, putting money into this special interest homosexual lobby group? Well, the cover photo you refer to is from, I think, the NLGJA, the National Lesbian and Gay Journalists Association fundraiser in 2010, where Megyn Kelly appeared. She lent her name, her weight, and her good looks to this cause. Pete and I actually were at a fundraiser of this group earlier this year, where once again you open up the program guide for the event and you find Fox News there saying it proudly supports the National Lesbian and Gay Journalists Association. So this is the big problem to begin with. They're putting money into one side of the debate.
You know, and Cliff, I'm looking at on page 3 of the report, you've got a chart there, the story breakdown by media sector on the U.S. Supreme Court's hearing on gay marriage. And newspapers were 43% to 8%, 43% of the statements they included in their stories were supportive of homosexual marriage. Only 8% were opposing. And you say, well, that's what we expect. What do you expect from the newspapers? You go down to MSNBC, 64% to 6%, 64% supportive, only 6% opposing gay marriage. And so you think, okay, well, great. Let's get down to Fox News. Here's where you're going to get fair and balanced. The statistics on Fox News, 29% of the statements were supportive of gay marriage. Only 8% were opposed. Now, 63% were neutral, so they did try to be a little more even-handed. But when they had statements, included them in the stories, the imbalance on Fox News almost matched that of NBC and the major newspapers.
That's correct. And remember, these are statistics from the Pew Research Center. This is a nonpartisan, objective arbiter of news coverage. So all of this backs up what we're complaining about. Now, in regard to other Fox News personalities, many of your listeners are probably familiar with Shepard Smith, the afternoon and evening anchor, who has made several disparaging comments about the pro-traditional values position. In fact, Shepard Smith has been identified by homosexual magazines as one of them, as a homosexual activist. And then about a year or so ago, Fox News hired its first open lesbian, a woman named Sally Cohn, who came out of Jane Fonda's Women's Media Center. That was one of a number of liberal hires by the network. They got rid of Glenn Beck, as we all know, primarily because he was exposing and criticizing the billionaire left-wing funder George Soros. We go down the list. With Megyn Kelly, we document how she's been very critical of anybody who comes on the show who attacks or is not enthusiastic about the homosexual lifestyle, to the extent where Kelly went after one of her own guests, Dr. Keith Abloh, when he suggested that parents should not let young people watch Dancing with the Stars because one of the featured attractions was so-called Chaz Bono, the former child actor who switched genders from female to male. Abloh thought this kind of thing would prove detrimental and confusing to young people, and he suggested that parents not let their kids watch it. Megyn Kelly went ballistic and said, oh, my gosh, what do you think the kids are going to do if they watch the show? Turn gay? And she complained that he was contributing to hate against homosexuals. And this is just one of many examples we cite in the study. It's very disturbing.
Well, in fact, Bill O'Reilly, and I went after him pretty hard on this, where he accused us of just being nothing but Bible thumpers on the issue of homosexual marriage, and we aren't. We do cite the Bible. That's my ultimate source of authority. I have no hesitation to admit that, no apologies for that. But pro-family advocates, supporters of natural marriage, we have brought forth a ton of non-biblical arguments in support of man-woman marriage, impact on children, optimal nurturing environment for children, sexual health, and all that kind of stuff. I mean, we brought out a numerous range of arguments in support. But what a lot of people don't realize is that when Bill O'Reilly made the Bible thumper comment, it was Megyn Kelly that set him up for that.
That's right. She had set him up by saying that she had interviewed Tony Perkins of the Family Research Council and that his arguments against homosexual marriage were not convincing. And this led to this conversation that, well, the basic opposition to gay marriage comes from these Bible thumpers. This was all set up by Megyn Kelly, and then Bill O'Reilly stepped in it, as you say, and came in for strong criticism. Bill O'Reilly himself, as Pete LaBarbera documents in our report, appears to be, quote, evolving on the issue. Ironically, Sean Hannity, who's being booted out of his 9 o'clock time slot by Megyn Kelly, has basically been silent on the whole issue. But it looks like Fox wants to put into that time slot somebody who's known to be openly pro-gay.
And you talk about Shepard Smith, to go back to him just for a second, and I'm looking at it's on page 33 of the report. Just like Anderson Cooper came out a couple of years ago as homosexual. Just like Anderson Cooper, Shepard Smith has been listed annually in the homosexual magazine Out's top 50 most powerful homosexuals, even though Smith is not an open homosexual, but nor has he ever taken issue with Out magazine classifying him as an active homosexual.
That's right. And then we all remember, this is what I was alluding to earlier, when people around the country went to Chick-fil-A in support of the head of the company expressing his support for traditional marriage, Shepard Smith attacked them, saying the Chick-fil-A Appreciation Day was really, quote, the National Day of Intolerance. He said this on the air. Now, you know, look, he's been outed by this magazine. He hasn't done anything, to my knowledge, to refute it or to ask that they take that down, to sue them for defamation. So it looks to me like Sally Cohn, who's out of the closet, he's one of them too. And
even Elizabeth Hasselbeck, she was prominent because she was the sole, quote, conservative voice on The View. She's now taken Gretchen Carlson's place on a morning show on Fox. Gretchen Carlson, pretty conservative on issues of homosexuality. A lot of people don't know that Elizabeth Hasselbeck is basically going to be a flack for the homosexual agenda.
That's another point that Pete makes in the report. Gretchen Carlson could always be counted on to be an advocate for traditional values, but she's out too, to be replaced by Elizabeth Hasselbeck, who is out in the open, promoting homosexuality, accepting it, and she's proud of it.
So bottom line, Cliff, got about 20 seconds. Summarize Fox News for us on this issue.
Well, people have to go elsewhere for their news and information, and that's one of the points of our national conference on August 20th. We ourselves have developed our own TV channel. People have to look elsewhere.
Our guest has been Cliff Kincaid. Cliff is the president of America's Survival Incorporated. Groundbreaking. I mean, this is a blockbuster review, ladies and gentlemen, on the pro-gay slant now at Fox News. Cliff, thank you so much for being with us, and say hi to my good friend Pete LaBarbera, and God bless you for all you do.
I'll do so, Brian. Thanks a million.
Back in 2, Focal Point, AFR Talk.